as promised, here is that beginner's yoga video. So we're gonna go ahead and actually before we start, I just wanna mention that if yoga is hard on your knees, sometimes when you've had knee replacements, some of those kinds of things, it feels hard. I mean, you definitely wanna have a thicker mat, but also they do sell these to go right under your knees. So if you're in a pose, your knee goes right in the middle there and it cushions it so much more. So if your knees are bothering you while you're doing this, this is something great to have. You might want to get yourself some of those. But we are going to go ahead and get started. So it is the same progression as the other ones that we're going to be moving through. Maybe some of the poses are taken out that are a little more advanced, but it will be helpful. So when you feel like you've mastered this video, you can go ahead and go into the intermediate one and you will have some idea of what's already going on before you get into that video. So we are always going to start with child's pose. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take our knees out wide to the edges of our mat. Our toes come together behind us. And then we're just going to reach out in front of us. Our fingertips trying to reach the edge of our mat, stretching out our back. And then we're going to come up into downward dog. So we're just taking our butt up into the air. We're going to bring our feet up to the top of the mat. We're going to grab our elbows with our arms and we're just going to kind of let it hang, maybe sway a little bit back and forth for ragdoll. Just as a disclaimer before we really get going, we're making sure that we're not pushing our body further than it can go. I will have a chair yoga video that I will be posting, so if this is a little too advanced for you still, you can go ahead and go to the chair yoga and work your way back up to this video, but make sure you're not pushing your body any further than it can go. And then we're going to inhale, we're going to reach up for extended mountain. Exhale and fold. Really connecting our breath into each movement. Inhale, halfway lift. And then we're going to place our hands on the mat, feet come back. Now, when we flow, we usually go from high plank to low plank to upward facing dog to downward dog. If that feels like a little bit much for you, you can always go take your knees down to the mat when we're doing high plank, low plank, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. And then we're going to go one more time so feet come to the top of the mat. We're going to inhale, reach up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and flow. We're going to take our feet back to the top of the mat. And we're going to go into chair pose. And fold. Halfway lift. And flow. This time we're going to bring our right foot forward. And we're just going to reach up for warrior one. And flow. We're gonna bring our left foot forward this time for warrior one. And flow. We're going to go into three-legged dog. So we're going to take our left foot and we're going to plant it on the mat. And then we're just going to reach our other leg up towards the ceiling. And you can either stay here, since this is beginners, or you can bend at your knee, and if it feels right for you, take your leg over for flip dog. And then we're gonna come back onto the mat, onto our other side for side plank. And a good modification for beginners is we're just gonna take our knee down to the mat for side plank. Feeling that stretch up through our side, up into our hand. And then coming back to downward dog. This time we're gonna plant our right foot and we're gonna take our left foot up into the air for three-legged dog. And either staying here or bend at your knee and possibly taking it over for flip dog. And then coming back into side plank. And then back to downward dog. At any time, if it feels like it's too much, you need a break, always feel free to return back to downward dog for a couple minutes and rest. Or child's pose is another good one where you can just take a break. We're still getting a benefit, stretching out your hips, doing that hip opener. If you go into any yoga studio, women who are super advanced at yoga will still take breaks, stop in the moment, and really maybe even just reflect, think about things. There's never anything wrong with stopping and taking a break. And then we're gonna go into crescent lunge. So we're gonna take our right foot forward and we're gonna stay on our toes if we can. If not, and your balance is not there yet, then just go ahead and plant your foot, that's okay. And we're gonna do crescent lunge. And then we're gonna bring our hands to heart center. And then we're gonna go ahead and twist as much as we can towards that knee that's out in front of us. And then come back to center. And then we're gonna open up for warrior two. We're gonna go ahead and hinge forward, reach down for our extended side angle. We're not dumping our weight. We should still be able to lift this hand up. Feeling that nice stretch in through here. And you're not stretching any further than you can. Maybe it's just here. Whatever feels right for your body is perfectly fine. And then we flow. So we're coming back down to the mat. Again, you can always go down to your knees and flow. Downward dog. We're going to bring our left foot forward this time for crescent lunge. And hands to center. And twisting towards that knee. And back to center. We're going to open up for warrior two. Hinge forward, reaching down for extended side angle. And then we flow. Back to downward dog. And then we're going to bring our feet to the top of the mat. We're going to reach up for chair pose. And then our hands to center. And then we're going to go ahead and twist to the right. And center. And twist to the left. And back to center. We're going to go ahead and stand up. This might be a good time for you to shake out your legs a little bit. Should feel intense through the muscles, holding those different poses. And then we're going to go ahead and take our peace fingers. We're going to bend over, reaching for our big toe. If it's just here, if it's all the way down without grabbing your toe, wherever that is, that sweet spot for your body is perfectly fine. But if you can grab your toes, we're going to grab our toes. And we're just going to let our body hang. Take a nice big deep breath in and let it go. Emptying your body out into the pose. If this is easy for you, you can go ahead and try and maybe just take the tips of your fingertips underneath your toes, or as much of your hand as you can underneath your feet. First, Gorilla Asana. And then normally we would do crow, but crow is pretty advanced. So we're just gonna go ahead, we're gonna turn to the side, take our hands to heart center, and we're just gonna squat down. And if you can't get here again, you're just going down as far as you can. Yoga is a practice. It's something that you have to practice to work your way up to get to all the different things that you want to do in yoga. Nobody ever starts being able to do all of the things. But every day that you get a little better is a win. We're just gonna stay here. You can always take your elbows and push out your legs to really get a good stretch in there. Take a nice big deep breath in And let it go. Really sinking into that pose. And then we're going to go ahead and come back up. Again, we can shake out our legs a little bit. We're going to start with some balancing poses. Balance can be really tricky for people when they first start yoga. So again, we're not pushing our body too hard. We're just doing what we can, what feels right. So the first pose we're going to start with is crow, where maybe it's just here, where you're using your toes to kind of balance yourself. Could start there. Maybe you work your way up your leg a little bit. Eventually we want to wrap our leg around, but we can just start here for today. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to do eagle arms. So we're going to, our right leg goes over, right arm goes under. If your arms don't want to go like this quite yet, which mine didn't at the beginning, you can always just hug yourself. And that's a nice modification for that. Again, you can always move your leg up more if you feel like your balance is coming. But we all start somewhere. A good key to the balancing poses is making sure that you're finding a spot out in front of you to really focus in. If you're looking all around, that throws your balance off. If you're really focusing in on a certain spot, it really helps maintain that balance so much better. And we also want to make sure that we're not holding our breath during these poses. We're still breathing. And then release. Sometimes I feel like maybe it's helpful when I just take a big deep breath in and empty myself out before the pose. And then we're going to take our left leg over this time, left arm under for eagle. And release. We're going to go ahead and do one more of each. Right leg over, right arm under. Find your spot. And release. Left arm, leg over, left arm under. Find your spot. And release. Next one is single leg extension, which eventually maybe we'll get to the point where we can take our leg out in front of us. But since this is beginners, we're going to go ahead and modify that with just grabbing our knee up out in front of us. So we're going to take our right leg up. And then we're going to take one arm out for balance. And we're going to see if we can open that up a little bit so that our knee comes out to the side. And then back into center. And then that leg comes down. We're going to go ahead and do airplane. So that same leg that we were just taking up, our right leg, we're going to go ahead and take it out behind us. Airplane could be all the way up, or it could just be right here, just off the ground where you're feeling, so that you can still grab the mat if your balance doesn't feel ready yet. But we're going to take our arms out behind us and our leg up where we can for airplane. Again, finding that spot out in front of you. And down. And then we're going to switch legs. So we're going to take our right leg back this time, or left leg back this time. Left leg comes back, arms come back. Finding your spot. If you're still really struggling with that, you can always put a chair in front of you to hold on to. And then we're gonna do dancer, which hopefully maybe one day we're gonna work our way up to full dancer, which would be like this. But today, this is a beginner class, so we're just gonna be happy if we can reach back and just grab our pants to hold our leg up, our ankle, maybe lean into it a little bit if that feels right for you. And then you can go ahead and take your arm out in front of you. For some reason, this seems harder for me than actual dancers today. Go ahead and find your spot, because that's the key. And again, you can always use a chair in front. And then back down. And then we're gonna switch legs. So left leg comes up. And maybe lean into it a little bit. Finding your spot. And then back down. We're gonna go ahead and do tree pose. So tree pose for beginners could just be right here again, so that your foot's close to the mat, so that if you're off balance, you can go ahead and stick your toes down and stabilize yourself if you feeling a little wobbly. But you can always try and work your way up your leg all the way up to here. But do whatever feels good for your body. And then we can always bring our hands to heart center. Or maybe it feels better if we have our branches out. And then back down. We're gonna switch legs. Left leg comes up this time. Wherever that feels right for you. Again, finding your spot on the wall really helps stabilize these balancing poses. And then back down. We're gonna go ahead and take our right leg out in front. Left leg comes back. Arms come out like we're going to warrior two. We're gonna hinge forward and then reach down with our other arm going up towards the ceiling. Again, we're not dumping our weight into this hand. We're actually trying to get this nice stretch pulling up through our core, looking up towards our fingertips. And again, it could be way up here. It could be up here. Whatever's giving you a decent stretch in through here is where you want to be. And then we're gonna come back up. And then we're gonna take our legs out wide, whatever feels right for you. And then we're just gonna try and lean down if we can, reaching towards that mat. And then we're gonna come back up, keeping that right leg out in front. We're gonna turn. Both of our feet are gonna face forward on our mat. And then we're gonna go ahead and try and reach down and touch our mat if we can for pyramid. And then if you can, we're gonna take our right arm up, looking up towards our fingertips if we can. And then we flow. So going back to that high plank, low plank, Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. And then we're gonna bring that left foot forward. Arms come out, hand forward, and reaching down for triangle. Pulling up through our core, up towards our fingertips. And then again, we're gonna go with our legs wide. And then we're gonna reach down for the mat. And then we're gonna come back up. And that leg that was over on this side, our left leg, is gonna come out in front. And then both of our feet are gonna face forward. For pyramid, we're gonna try and reach down and touch our mat. Kind of leaning back a little bit into your hips. And then this time we're going to take and lift our left arm up if we can, looking up towards our fingertips. And then we're going to bring our hands to the top of the mat like we're going to flow. But we're just going to go ahead and take our belly down to the mat. Maybe this is a part where you want to just take a rest. You're always free to stop and pause the video. We're about halfway through. And just catch your breath, take some deep breaths, and then come back to the video when you're ready. But if you're ready to go on, we're going to take our arms down the length of our body, and then we're just going to lift our arms up off the mat, and then also lift our legs up off the mat for locusts. And then back down, take a quick rest. And then we're gonna go back up one more time for locusts. And back down. This time, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna bend our knees up and we're gonna try and reach back, maybe for our pants, for our ankles, our feet, whatever we can grab and pull it up towards us. And then, if you can, you're gonna rock a little bit for boho. Getting a nice stretch in your back. But maybe it's just reaching back. Opening up your shoulders. Pulling your posture back, and rest. And then reach back one more time for bobos. And relax. We're going to put our hands up by our chest, pushing ourselves up into upward facing dog. and going up onto our knees. Again, if your knees are bothering you on the mat, this would be a perfect place to slide these under your knees. And then we're gonna do camel. So camel, we're essentially trying to reach back for our ankles, but that might take a little while. So we're just kind of like bracing ourselves on our thighs and just kind of reaching back as far as we can. Trying to feel that good stretch in your lower back. And rest. And then one more time, we're gonna reach back again. And back up. We're gonna go ahead and go onto our backs. We're gonna bring our feet up towards our seat, and then we're just gonna push our hips up into the air as much as we can for bridge. And then we're just gonna hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then come back down. We're gonna go back up into bridge, holding again for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, come down. And then one last time, we're going back up and holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You should be engaging your core and your glutes while you're doing this pose. And back down. We're gonna bring our feet together, lay them on the mat, where our knees are out wide, for Supta Baddha Konasana. We're gonna take our one hand to our heart, one hand to our belly. This is a good place to take some nice deep breaths. When I used to teach yoga, we used to breathe in all the good shit. Let go of all the bullshit. If that feels good for you, do it as many times as feels right. Another thing that I like to do when I'm doing yoga alone is I like to imagine there is this big ball of light that kind of starts down at my feet or my head, either way, whichever way you want to imagine it, and just kind of pulls right through my whole body, taking all the things that no longer serve me in my life. And then I imagine it going right out the window and the window closing behind it. So I start fresh every day. Feel free to try that if that feels good for you. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're going to grab for our knees, or our legs, or our ankles, or our feet, wherever we can get that doesn't feel like it's gonna hurt us or going too far. And we're gonna pull our feet up if we can for happy baby. Just kind of pulling your knees down into your body. Feels kind of good if you rock a little bit, giving your spine a little bit of a massage. And then it also feels good if you just kind of bring the legs all the way down and pull them up into you. Gives you a nice, good stretch in there. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take our legs up above us. So this is just a really great pose in itself because it helps the blood flow come back down into our body. But we're gonna go ahead and we are going to alternate our legs. So we're gonna do this for 5. Feel free to pause the video if you feel like you can do more. You wanna go further in any of the things that we're doing. Or you can go ahead and take a rest if it feels like it's too much for you, because everybody is in a different place. But we are going to alternate our legs for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And come back up. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to lower our legs 30% and another 30. And then we're going to hover. We're going to tap our heels for 5. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring our legs back up. We're going to lower 30, 30 more, and hover. We're going to alternate this time for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Legs come back up. We're going to bend at our knees, and we're going to take our hands behind our head. We're going to take our elbow to our opposite knees for 10. So we're going to go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then come back. Again, you can do more or less, whatever is right for you. But at this point, we're going to go ahead and we're going to rock up into boat pose. With our legs out in front of us, our arms out in front of us, and maybe your legs are just off the ground. It's wherever feels right for you. We're only going to do it for a couple seconds for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to come down to the mat, and then we're going to come back to the top of our mat, and we're going to take our right leg, very bottom part of our right leg, we're going to have it parallel with the front edge of our mat, and we're going to do half pigeon. A good modification for beginners in half pigeon is just to kind of keep this leg next to you. And then we're just going to kind of lean down or fold into it as much as we can. Really just trying to get a good stretch in through this leg. And then we're going to come back up, and then we're going to go into double pigeon. So we're going to take this back leg and bring it around. Some of us might just be sitting in crisscross applesauce, if that feels like it's a stretch for you. If that feels like it's super easy and you want something a little more advanced, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to take that back leg that we brought around and put it up on top of our other leg for double pigeon. And then again, we're gonna kind of just fold into it as much as feels right, where we're just getting that nice deep stretch. That's a little bit of a challenge for us, but not too challenging. This time getting that good stretch in through that top leg. And then we're going to come back up, and we're going to take this top leg and we're going to use that out in front this time for half pigeon. So that's parallel with the front edge of your mat. And then again, we're taking that other leg out to the side. If you want more of a challenge in this pose, this feels like it's just too easy for you. The goal is always to like bring that other leg back as far as you can into half pigeon, but we're working our way up to that. So we're going to start with that leg out next to us. And then we're just kind of folding down into it. up and to double pigeon, so either crisscross or taking that leg on top of the other leg. Just turning so you guys can see a little better. And then again, we're folding down into that as much as we can. And then coming back up, and we're gonna do frog. So we're going to go ahead, and the modified version for this is we're gonna go and lay on our bellies. And then once we're on our belly, we're gonna take our left leg and bend it up as much as we can next to us. And then we're just laying into that. And then we're gonna go ahead and take that leg back down and switch to the other leg up. And then we're gonna come back up to a seated position with our legs out in front of us. So our legs are out, extended out in front of us. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take our right leg and bring it up. So our foot is up towards our thigh, or wherever that is for you. It could be way out here. It's whatever feels right for your body. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna inhale, reach up, exhale, and fold. And then we're gonna come back up. We're gonna switch our legs. We're gonna inhale, reach up. Exhale and fold. And then coming back up, we're gonna take both legs out in front of us. Inhale, reach up. Exhale. exhale and fold. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take our hands back by our seat, bend our legs up, and then we're just gonna push up as much as we can. Maybe it's here, maybe it's all the way up to tabletop, but you're doing what feels right for you. And then we're gonna go ahead and come back down. Dress stroking our butt, our legs come back out. We're kind of dropping to our elbows. And then you can push your chest out looking back for fish. Or if you're one of my clients, you most likely have heard me say that you can grab a yoga block and put it, line it up with kind of your neck so that you're still able to look back. But the yoga block is kind of in between your shoulder blades. Really helps open this back up after all the things that we do, like driving, looking at our phones, sitting at our desk. Really stretches this back out. And then you kind of just let your body flow over the block. For fish. And then we're gonna go ahead and come back up. Ultimately, if that's something I told you to do, take a lot more time than that. I would suggest like a good 15 minutes laying on the block. But we're moving on. So we're going to go ahead and we're gonna come on our mat, and if this is a challenge for you just to put your legs up, that's still good. The blood's flowing back down into our body. If you are ready for a little bit more of a challenge, we're going to try and push our body, kind of rock up, and then kind of like put your hands underneath you to kind of push you up into shoulder stand. But if all you can get to is just having your legs up, that's okay. Everyone starts somewhere. And we're in shoulder. If you're in shoulder stand and shoulder stand feels okay for you, you can go ahead and try to go into plow, where you take your legs back down, trying to kind of get your feet to touch back behind your head. Again, you can use your hands to prop you up. If you're in plow and this feels alright for you, you can always go ahead and take one more progression from that and take your knees out to the sides of your ears for deaf man's pose. And then we're going to come back up into shoulder stand. And gently let our bodies roll back down to the mat. And then we're just gonna, two forms of supine twist, where you can either take both knees over to one side, or the way I like to do it is one leg straight, and then the other knee comes over that leg. It's really whatever feels good for you. But either way, you're gonna take your other arm up to the opposite side, and you're gonna look towards that arm to really get that good stretch. And then we're gonna come back to center and we're gonna switch sides. And then back to center. And then we're just gonna take our feet out towards the corners of our mats. Our arms come out. We're gonna take a nice big deep breath in. Let it go. Let your body just melt down into the mat. Really just focusing on your breath going in and out while your eyes are closed. Just letting your whole body relax. If thoughts come into your head, you're just silently observing them with no judgment, and then kind of gently pushing them back out. Again, coming back to your breath. Really just feeling good in the moment, being proud of yourself for showing up for yourself today. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna come back up to a seated position. One of the things I always like to do at the end of my class when I taught yoga, I feel like a lot of people struggle with feeling like enough. So I like everyone to go ahead and take their hands over their heart. And then just think about 3 things that you really like about yourself. Sometimes people struggle with this. I've had a lot of women ask me what I say to myself. And to that I say, we're all beautiful. We're all special. We're made in that way on purpose. Because if we were all the same, life would be boring. And we're all strong. Life is hard, it's challenging, and we make it through it every day. We're so much more powerful than we know. And I think it's super important, especially for anyone who believes in God. Like, God is within us. And so the only way we can truly love Him is to love ourselves, not in a conceited way, but in a self-acceptance and appreciative way of who we are as a person. So go ahead and take some time and appreciate yourself. And also be proud of yourself that you showed up today, because that is truly an act of self-love. So love and light to all of you, and I hope you enjoy this video and it creates some value for you.